What's up, YouTube? This is my other channel because I got to go with you all today. My other channel's on strike till October. You know, somebody's reporting my content. I don't know who's reporting it, but someone is reporting my content. So, um, welcome you all. Welcome. Join in today, you all. I want to welcome you all. What's up? YouTube has me on strike for on my other channel until October 22nd. Now think about that. How these folks put me on strike till October 22nd? What's up, DJ? All good? So my last live got me put on strike till October 22nd, and it's my first strike. It's my first strike on that channel, and it's until October 22nd. Now I want y'all to think about this real quick. How is it that all these woke activists, all these woke people talking about racism and talking about systemic racism and oppression and white privilege and all this, thanks for the badge. How is it that all these people can have their platforms up and they're talking about racism? They're talking about how bad the system is. How can these people keep their platform up? How? If they're going against the system, how is the system allowing them to keep their platform up? And then when it comes to me, thank you, Monica, for the badge. And then when it comes to me, who's the sellout, who's the coon, who's the lost one, they snatching my stuff down for months at a time. Think about that. So the system is allowing people that's fighting against the system to keep a platform. But yet people that are called sellouts and lost and coons and all this stuff are getting their stuff snatched. Now make that make sense. We're going to talk today, but make that make sense though. And thank you all for my badges so much. So I'm on my other YouTube channel right here, and I got one person watching. Thank you for where that one person is. Thank you. Thank you, Dimples, for the badge, because you're preaching the truth. Okay, look, pretty soon race won't matter. It's about class. Here goes the irony. It's always been about class. It's always been economic. The funny thing is, think about it. Anytime they have enforced racism, it was done economically. It was done in a way that you were denied access to something that usually was better, which meant there was more money put into what you were denied access to. Many of us have a real difficult time understanding what racism actually is. When racism is practiced, it's economic. It's an economic denial. That's why they want you all in the streets marching and protesting over police brutality and voter IDs instead of marching and protesting for jobs. Here goes the irony though. So I read an article and it talked about how 124 million Democrats got the jab. Now think about this for a second. There's about 333 million people in America, right? They said that 31% of Americans are Democrat, registered Democrats, 25% are Republican, and it said 51% are Libertarian. Okay, so let's break this down. Now, you and I know that it's more socially acceptable to be. My other YouTube channel is Free Blanche TV, and He is Blanchard. So He is Blanchard, Blanchard. He is Blanchard on YouTube, and then also Free Blanche TV. But Free Blanche TV has a strike, and I'm done. I can't do lives until October 22nd. I have 2 strikes on He is Blanchard. The funny thing is, they're treating me like I'm some kind of revolutionary, but yet I'm the sellout. It doesn't make any sense. Like, how can I be lost in the sellout and they're treating me like I'm some kind of revolutionary? Anyway, what was I saying? So yeah. So what's up, B? So back to what I was saying. So 31% of the country is registered Democrats, 25% Republican, and they said 51% Libertarian. I don't know how that works because the math seems like it's kind of off. Is it 25, 31? I don't know. So anyway, so give or take, let's just say half of the country is Libertarian and the other half is either Democrat or Republican, majority Democrat. And we think about this. If a person doesn't vote, if a person's not a Democrat, if they're not Democrat or Republican, what are they most likely to vote? They are most likely to vote Democrat. Why Democrat? Because the media is all liberal. The media is 90% liberal, and it's socially acceptable to be a Democrat. There's no backlash being liberal or being Democrat. There's actual backlash from being conservative. So, for example, if a person like myself says that I'm Republican, but I'm not, or Democrat, but if a person says that I'm a Republican, if I say I'm a Republican, automatically it's a stigma. It's automatic stigma. So the average person that doesn't have any character is going to take the easiest route to be Democrat. So those liberals or libertarians that are 51% of the country, I would venture to say the majority of them are Democrat. And so my theory is that the majority of the country is Democrat, because even with my community, if we don't, we're never going to vote Republican, right? So it makes no sense to even talk about Republicans because we're never going to vote Republican, right? Somebody said the math 106. Yeah, the math is off in the article. But the gist of the article is that 124 million Democrats got the jab. And that number came about probably because of the 31% of the country being Democrat and all the libertarians being really Democrats. They're all Democrats because it's socially acceptable. You're not going to get banned or in trouble or canceled for saying you're Democrat. You actually get banned for saying you're Republican or conservative. This is actual, and I'm living proof of that. You can see it on my platforms. My stuff gets censored, gets taken down. I dispute stuff on Instagram all the time. Like, I'm constantly in disputes with my content, but yet my people say that I'm a sellout and I'm lost, and I'm just, it's just insane to me how they can make this make sense. But so you got 124 million Democrats that took the jab. Now think about this. These people spent the past 4 years saying that Donald Trump was racist. And my boy Cougar Meat Jones posted this, and I'm so glad he did. Y'all go follow Cougar Meat Jones _1. That's the real Cougar Meat Jones. Anyway, he posted this article, and basically it says that 124 million Democrats took the jab. Now, these same people said that Donald Trump was racist for literally 4 years. For 4 years, these people said that he was racist and he had to go. And then on his way out, he tells you all to take a jab, and you all take it. This is what I mean when I say that no one believes. Thank you for the badge, Carl, or Carol. I'm sorry, Carol. Okay, somebody said, listen, y'all. I'm setting up my Patreon because I realize YouTube is not for me. So I'm setting up my Patreon. Thank you, DJ Allgood. I'm setting my Patreon up. And please support me on Patreon, you all, because YouTube is out of control. Anyway, but just think, the Democrats said that Donald Trump was racist and the worst president, a dictator, worse than Hitler. I even got in an argument with my god brother. He said that Trump was the most racist president ever. I said, how is that possible if we have presidents that own slaves? He said, it don't matter. He's more racist than a slave owner. I said, okay. So anyway, but these same people, on his way out, after they talked about him for the last 4 years, he does Operation Warp Speed, and he tells these same people to take a jab, and they took it. Just make it make sense. How can you all tell me that this man is racist? Okay, if you went to McDonald's and the manager of a McDonald's was racist, openly racist, he was openly racist, meaning that if you came in there to order, you would deny service. Sometimes you couldn't get in, just racist, right? The manager of that McDonald's was racist. 9.9 times out of 10, you wouldn't even go to the restaurant. And if you did go to the restaurant, if you did go to the restaurant, you would be skeptical of the food they gave you. So think about this. So you would be skeptical if a racist person gave you a hamburger, but you weren't skeptical when he said take the jab. 124 million Democrats who called this man racist the entire 4 years took the jab. This is what I talk about when I say that no one believes this racism stuff. Nobody. And what you're going to see is when they get on TV and say there's no more racism, then you all will reference back to this content. You're going to say, dang, how did he know? Nobody believes this racism stuff because there's no way, me personally, I would think someone was racist and then actually take something from them that's going to go inside my body. This is what I talk about when I say this whole racism thing is a facade. It's not real. Nobody believes it. Nobody. There is no way my people can look at our communities in these inner cities across America, look how bad they are, and then from looking at what they see every day, and then vote for people that want to keep that same thing going. It's no way. The only way that could be done is if you really didn't believe in this whole racism thing. I talk about this because there's going to come a point in time where they're going to get on TV and tell you all, if you don't get it, then you are a sellout to your people. You are a Trump supporter. I'm telling you what they're going to do. I told my ex-girlfriend this. I told her this. I said, listen, you not wanting to get it won't be good enough because they're going to come against you for not taking it. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. It doesn't matter if people love you. It doesn't matter if you're helping the community or the country. It doesn't matter. If you don't get it, they're going to go against you. I tried to tell her this, but many of us are caught up in this liberal ideology, and everything the liberals do is feeling based. If you look through that Bible, if you flip through the Bible from start to finish, not one time in the Bible will you see God asking anybody how they felt. All this stuff happening in the Bible, creation stories, the devil, floods, Sodom and Gomorrah, fire and brimstone, resurrections, miracles, all the famines and flood, death angels, all this stuff going on, wars, David and Goliath, all this stuff going on in the Bible. And not one time did God ever ask anyone how they felt. Think about that. Not one time. All this stuff happening, and not one time did God sit down and say, how do you feel about this? You know why God never asked that question? Because we would immediately come up with an excuse. Immediately. So I go back to this, 124 million Democrats got the jab. Now I want you to think. Now I told folks before, Republican and Democrat, it's not about the parties. It's about the mindset of the people. The media is all liberal. So that means that the media is pumping this liberal ideology into the whole country. So that means the majority of the country is democratic by default, whether they vote or not. For example, the Democrats have policies like the Equality Act and these immigration policies and all this stuff that actually hinder, they've done studies that opening the borders up affects Black men or indigenous men the most. Opening the borders up takes away jobs from us. So the reason why nobody makes a fuss about it is it because it affects us. If it affected our women, maybe they would say something. But because it affects us the most, nobody says anything. There are certain things that they do policy-wise that affect our people negatively, yet we still keep voting for them. You know why? Because the media is all liberal. The media is all liberal. So whether someone votes or not, and you do realize that most of us don't vote. Most Black people in America do not vote. That's why there's so much propaganda surrounding voting, because we don't vote. Nobody wants to say this. That's why this last election, they had to go ahead and do all this stuff because we don't vote. We don't vote. I talked to so many people telling me that Trump is racist and America had to be fixed and they didn't vote. So my people don't vote. So I know that. And it's a harsh reality to say, but you know, it goes against the narrative, but it's the truth. That's why you have to stuff mailboxes and text and call and go by the house. You gotta do all that stuff because we don't vote. And then you do all that stuff and still cheat. Anyway, so it's not about the parties. It's not about Republican or Democrat. The actual parties, it doesn't matter. The parties themselves, Democrat, Republican, don't matter. It is the mindset of the people. So most people think if a person is Republican, voting Republican, that they are actually Republican in all aspects of their life or all aspects of their thought process. Democrat is different because the media is Democratic. So the media is pumping Democrats with the mindset. So it's very telling to me to see that 124 million Democrats, liberals, got the jab. And I said this before, the thinking of a liberal and Democrat leads to that because none of it's based in character. So a liberal can get on TV, literally a liberal can get on TV and not have any facts. Get on TV and just tell blatant lies and nobody says anything because the liberal ideology says nobody's perfect, right? Conservative folks believe in accountability. That's the difference. It's the mindset of the people. Conservatives believe in family, freedom, and God, family, and freedom. That's conservative ideology. Liberals believe in everything else. That's what it is. So forget the parties. It's the mindset of the people. So the average Democrat is actually pro-lockdowns. The average Democrat is pro-socialism and communism. The average Democrat is pro-tyranny. The average Democrat is pro-dictatorship because it doesn't have to be based in actual outcomes. It's all based in feelings. It's all based in feelings. So I said this before, the liberal ideology and thinking, the democratic ideology and thinking is going to lead you into bondage because that's the purpose of it. Democracy is mob rule. Democracy says that if the majority are doing it, it's right. That's the democracy ideology. The Republican ideology is by the people, for the people. Meaning the people decide. And on that decision, it's not based on majority. It's not. It's based on how everyone can have the choice and freedoms to live their life. So it's about individuals governing their lives, not about the majority, because the majority can want to do something and it's bad. It's about individuals. It's by the people, for the people, so people decide. America was founded on a republic. It was not founded on a democracy. Democracy is going to bring in tyranny, communism, one world government, you know, the whole spiel. It's all based in emotionalism. So the Republic philosophy, the conservative philosophy is let me govern my life, limited government involvement. Democrats want a lot of government involvement. They want you to hold their hands. They want you to give them rules. It's almost like the liberal democratic mindset is like that of a child. It's like, please discipline me. Please rule over me. Please put me on punishment. Please ground me. Please suspend me. That's the ideology. So don't look at the parties. It's not about Republican. It's not about elephants and donkeys. It's not what it's about. It is about the mindset of the people, and the majority of the country is Democratic by default because Democrats are seen as harmless. So Joe Biden can get on TV and say, you all can't defeat us unless you got some nukes. And nobody thinks he's a dictator by saying these things. Joe Biden get on TV and say that you all don't have sense enough, my people, to get on the internet to register for the jab. He can say this because Democrats are seen as harmless. Everything is an emotional feeling. This is why God never asked anyone how they felt, and God doesn't deal with feelings. God deals with character because feelings sway every which way. Feelings sway every which way. So when I'm talking a lot of times, when I'm saying things, there are folks that listen to my content and they hate what I say. They don't hate it because it's a lie. They hate it because someone like me is saying it. There are plenty of white men talking like me that nobody bothers. But the fact that it's me, so your average liberal listens to me talk and says he's a sellout. This is the average liberal. The average Democrat looks like me, says he's a sellout. Why is everyone calling me a sellout, yet my platform is being taken down? How is that possible? If I was selling out, the system would be looking out for me. I keep telling you all that all of this stuff is propaganda. It's not real. Nobody believes this racism stuff. Nobody. Even Malcolm and Martin, when they got to the end of their career, they were talking less about race and more about economic empowerment and including everybody, because there's no way any of us can make it unless all of us make it. There's no way any of us can make it unless all of us make it. So that means there's no way that my people can rise up without the help of white people or Caucasians. Every step of the way in this country, there have been Caucasians that have been hindering us and also helping us. So it's actually been balanced. It's been a balance. It's been a balance of white folks helping us and hurting us at the same. It's been a balance. But the only problem is no one ever talks about the good that white folks have done. Nobody. There was a pastor that said one time, he said, he did a video talking about how Black men, indigenous men in America respond to trauma. Not trauma, but respond to devastation. So like a tsunami or something. So in Japan, they had the tsunami, and after that tsunami, there was no crime. In Japan, after that tsunami, there was no crime, right? So then he said, but look at Katrina. After the levees broke, what were the men of my community doing? They were killing, they were raping, they were robbing, they were being violent, they turned into animals. After something that devastated their own community, the men in our community turned on the community. Katrina, go look it up. All stuff documented. Go look up what the men in my community did after Katrina. Now, when I say these kind of things, people say you're a sellout because you're placating to white people. I honestly don't think that white people want this to be true. I don't. I don't think the average white person wants what I'm saying to be true. Okay. So after Katrina, the men in my community raped, pillaged, and plundered their own people. Everybody was talking about what Bush was doing, but nobody was talking about what we were doing. Nobody believes this racism thing. After the earthquakes in Haiti, after the earthquake, after they hit that little technology they had, they hit the button, made them earthquakes happen in Haiti. After the earthquakes in Haiti, what did our men do? They raped, they pillaged, they robbed, they plundered, they murdered. So we have two instances where in the communities where people look just like me, how the men responded after devastation. After devastation and catastrophe, the men in my community turned on their own people. Now, when I say these things, it sounds bad, doesn't it? It sounds bad. It sounds bad. And the excuse that's given is, white people made them do it. That's the excuse. The excuse is white people made them do it. What's up, Peter? Now, I believe in accountability. And so I talk about accountability from the men first, then to the women, then to the children, then to the community. So I hold the men in my community accountable. So I know that all the killing that's going on in these cities, all the murdering, is done by us. Less than 6% of the population, which is us, in America, accounts for 50% of the homicides. Now, when I say this, all people can hear is he's a sellout. But I don't think the average white person wants my community doing all the killing. So if America doesn't want it, how can it be bad or a sellout if I'm saying it? The average American doesn't want 6% of the population doing 50% of the homicides. Somebody said, in your opinion, why do you say this is so? Well, it's so because we've created a culture of non-accountability. You see, the whole goal is to get the people of this planet to acquiesce to the will of Satan. So the easiest way to get someone to be like the devil is to make them not accountable. So you have a child, you raise the child with accountability because you want the child to grow up to be a what? Functioning adult. Most children that grow up reckless didn't have any accountability. So they never got accountability. Even in the juvenile justice system, they slap them on the wrist all the way till it's time to go to prison. They slap these kids on the wrist all the way until it's time to go to prison. And by the way, if a child can be considered an adult when it comes to murder, then a child can be considered an adult when it comes to having sex with an adult. Look at the ages in certain states in the U.S. I think Alabama might be at the age of 12. But if you look around the country, the sex ages they vary. But I don't want to get off topic. So accountability with my community first. So we had two instances where there was catastrophe and chaos, and the men in my community acted worse than the racist groups. So in other words, the Ku Klux Klan didn't come through after Katrina and rape, pillage, and plunder. The white nationalists didn't come through after Katrina and rape, pillage, and plunder. Your most racist, the neo-Nazis didn't come through after Katrina and rape, pillage, and plunder. It was our men. So when I talk about racism, I talk about it in the sense that no one actually believes it. Because there's no way you could be mad at the KKK, which you only see on TV. The KKK only comes out when the cameras are out. You never see these groups, these white nationalists, tiki torch. You never see none of this stuff on the everyday, just walking around. It's always when the cameras are out. Ain't that coincidence? How ironic is it that you only see these racist groups when the film is rolling? Isn't it just a little bit ironic? It's a little bit. Anyway, so the accountability starts with our men first. So when I talk about people like Kevin Samuels, I talk about, Black women, indigenous women, when I talk about these things, I don't exclude the men. Because first I tell the women, don't deal with the men. Once y'all don't deal with them, now I can go ahead and address these men. Because the problem with our men is we don't want to grow up. But even beyond wanting to grow up, now we're turning savage. We have a culture of being savage. Thank you, P-Dot. We have a culture of being savage. In Haiti, after the earthquakes, the people were begging for food. And there were men on the ground keeping the hungry people from getting the food. That's not white people. Why is nobody outraged at it? You know why? Because it doesn't fit a narrative. You losing me. That's why white people like you. I'm out. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? This is a person on here. Look, think about it. Now, this person on here can't dispute anything I'm saying. Everything I'm saying is factual. But the person that said I'm out is emotional because, like I told you all, by default, most of the country is liberal and democratic. It's all emotion. Forget the parties. Most of the thinking of the people is democratic and liberal. So this person says, you've given me too much truth, I'm out. This is where we are. If they can get you to be unaccountable, they can get you to be evil. The only thing that keeps somebody in check is accountability. So these people say, this is why white people love you. But what people think is the truth is based on race. So this is what they think, that if we tell the truth, we're selling out. If white folks tell the truth, they're racist. Look how insane it is. And the truth is simply just the truth. The truth is simply just the truth. It's not based in, but they've convinced us. They've convinced us. Now, this same people that said I'm out will go report me. These are the same people. The same people saying I'm out will go report me. This is why I say nobody believes this racism thing, because most of my detractors look just like me. Major Williams in California is running for governor. Larry Elder is running for governor. They're running against the communist dictator Gavin Newsom. And nobody black or indigenous or melanated is going to vote for him. We claim all this black pride, Black History Month, black colleges, all black everything, Black Lives Matter. But when it comes time to vote, we are not going to vote for the 2 black candidates. Nobody believes this racism stuff, not anybody, because there's no way that my people could want Gavin Newsom in office him to remain in office and then not vote for 2 qualified black candidates. It wouldn't even make any sense. But it does make sense because nobody actually believes in this whole racism thing. So, for example, my cousin just read me an article this morning. The article was about they wanted to do cashless bonds, cashless bails for criminals who they said couldn't, think about this now, for criminals who couldn't afford the bail, let's make it cashless so they can just get back out on the streets. This is California. For criminals who couldn't afford the bail, let's make it cashless so they can go back out on the street. It's a setup. It doesn't even make sense. But you're telling me the criminal doesn't have enough money because of racism. So the racism is making the person become a criminal, and then when they get to court, let them out, they don't have any money. You see, if they get you to be unaccountable, if they can get you to be non-accountable, they can get you to be evil. So everything supporting us, going to us, is of low vibration. I've always said this, it's low vibrational. So they want us to focus on police brutality, voter ID. 2 things that clearly involve character. How many people have you seen carrying their books, walking to school, get killed by the police? How many folks do you all know that got killed by the police? How many folks you know going to work got killed by the police? How many folks you know walking in their purpose got killed by the police? How many folks doing what God put them on earth to do got killed by the police? I'm not justifying anything. I'm saying that police homicides make up 0.2% of the homicides in our community. 0.2. 94% of the homicides in our community are caused by who? By us. And when I say us, I'm excluding the women and children. It's us. It's the men. You see, what happened was, with us, they gave us a false image of manhood. They spent a whole decade in the 70s making these black exploitation films where the men were the pimps and the abusers of women. Go watch them films. We used to, in the movies, we were slapping the women, pimping them out, killing them, beating them. You can watch the movies. So it was a whole era of our men in the 70s that bought into being a pimp and being a Mac. Then they sent the rest of them off to war. Then they got the war. If they made it back, it was crazy. Agent Orange, or just seeing so much killing and death and chaos. And then come back and couldn't get a job. So what happened with us was they beat us down. They made us not want to be men. They beat us down to the point we didn't want to, because it was too difficult to be a man. So guess what we did? Arrested Development. We wanted to stay kids the whole time. That's why you see men now 50 years old with skinny jeans on. That's why you see men in their 50s walking around with skinny jeans on. So at the end of the day, we don't want to grow up. So the problem is, once the leadership is compromised, it's over. Because the women are next. You know, the women are next with the Jezebel spirit. So in California, everybody hollering about racism, but when it came time to vote on affirmative action, they voted against it. Now, before affirmative action benefited white women. I told you all before that real racism is economic. So when it came time for you to get a job and for me to get a job, they gave it to white women. That's racism. That's why you go march and protest, for that. When it came time to give you and I a job, they gave it to white women. That's what you should protest and march for, not police brutality and voter IDs. So now it came back up again. And this time, affirmative action was going to be done right. So when it's time for it to be done right, when it's time to rectify the ills of the past, when it's time to correct systemic racism, what do? They vote against it. You know why? Because this time there was pressure for it to be done right. This time when they had to give you and I a job, they said, we ain't going to vote for it at all. I keep telling you all that racism is economic. So racism, when it's really fought, it's not glamorous. It's in the courtroom. No media, It's just a judge, couple of lawyers, stenographer. That's it. It ain't glamorous. It ain't for social media. It ain't for the gram. It ain't for. It's very boring, and you got to have all your ducks in a row. It's non-emotional. So when a person proves racism, when they prove it, they get a check because racism is economic. Just like when it came to reparations, they said, let's give the land back because they took the land. All this stuff makes sense if we just remove the emotion. But the racism that you are thinking is real ain't real. That's called prejudice. That's called bigotry. That's called you being in your feelings. No one cares about you being black. No one cares about you being white. But the media has to make you care about being black and make you care about being white. Because after all, because you got to think about it now. People worried about paying their bills, their car note, their bills, their kids, their family, their house, vacation, their job. With all that going on in someone's life, do they really have time to focus on another person's skin color? Honestly. If you ever look at the real racist people, how they look, the real racist folks who like, I don't like niggers. Them. They ain't got no teeth in their mouth. They ain't working. There's nobody about their business, living this day-to-day life, working that 9 to 5, taking care of their family, concerned with another race. They're just not doing it. They're just not. And it's hard for us to hear that the average white person ain't thinking about us. It's just hard for us to believe that. It's hard. The average white person literally walk by you and won't even think about it. May say hi and keep moving. But we think, oh, they racist. I just saw a video and the lady was the HOA president, and it was one of our sisters, and she was arguing with her about putting something on her door or whatever. And the lady said, get out my property, cursing, whatever. Anyway, the lady keep cussing at her. She cursed back. So finally, the lady said, she called her the N-word. The lady called her the N-word. Right? She said the N-word. Now, many of you all are going to say she's racist. Her saying the N-word makes her prejudiced or bigoted. It doesn't necessarily make her racist because she's not actually practicing racism. She's not putting the woman out of her home. That would be racism. That would be racist. So she calls her the N-word, and the girl goes on her property after being on her property, drags her off her property, and starts fighting her. Now, I imagine that millions of us watch that, and we think that the woman did something that was good. We think by her attacking this woman for being called the N-word, there was something good. But when the rappers get on the songs and call you all these deplorable names, nobody gets upset. You don't get upset because you'll accept the treatment for someone looking like you, but not from someone white. But then when it comes to someone white, you're going to pick and choose because you still love Gavin Newsom and not Larry Elder or Major Williams. Nobody believes this racism thing. See, we want to fight racism and look good doing it. We want to snatch folks off their property and put them on and go viral and think we did something until lady press charges on you. Now, many folks say, well, he a sellout. He caking the white people. He caking the white people. And the funny thing is, there's nobody on TV telling you all that you all think is woke, that you're not black. Nobody. There's nobody that y'all think is woke telling you all that's on TV that you all follow with a Black Lives Matter t-shirt on and fists up in the air that you are not black. So automatically, that separates me from the pack. Anyway, because black is a status, just like white is a status. And okay, somebody said, why can't we all just be? We can't all just be because the goal is division. See, most of my people don't think bigger picture. They think emotion, they think feeling, they think looking at skin. Keeps them blinded. Meanwhile, the Chinese troops is coming in. The UN troops is coming in. We looking at race. And then we're going to look up and they're going to say, come to the FEMA camp. And many of us are going to go because we're used to white liberals controlling what we do. We are, as much as we talk about systemic racism, as much as we hate white folks, We will sit up there and listen to a white liberal. That is why Gavin Newsom will not get recalled, because we'll actually go out and vote for him, not Major Williams, who believes in family, freedom, God, got a black wife, black children, black family, believes in God, family, freedom, community, less government involvement, no lockdown, none of this, he believes in everything we claim we want. And he looks just like us, but we won't vote for him. Because above our own, we love a white liberal. Because a white liberal makes us feel good. A white liberal will pat us on the back even when we're wrong. A white liberal will tell us that we're great even when we fail. That's why we love them. It's all emotion. This is why God never asked anybody how they felt, for this very reason right here. Because asking someone how they feel will get them all enrolled in their emotions. Get them all not enrolled. That's a made up word. Get them all caught up in their emotions. So I'm riding around California and I'm seeing all these homeless. And my spirit said something to me. My spirit said that the homeless, they're all parasites. The homeless population, they're all parasitic. Now, many folks will say that's wrong. The homeless need love. The homeless need help. All the money that we've invested, all the time and money that we've invested into the homeless, how is their population growing? With all the resources for the homeless population in America, how is the population growing? How? How are we devoting all this time, money, energy, and effort to the homeless, and yet their numbers are steadily growing? How is it possible? Somebody's lying. Now, most folks believe that every homeless person is homeless by some hard, tragic life event. You mean the same hard, tragic life events that we all face. The only difference is we give an excuse to homeless people because they succumb to it. Homeless people are parasitic by nature. They are parasites. I'm not saying they don't deserve to live. I'm not saying that they're not human beings. I'm saying that what they do doesn't contribute to society or the environment. We talk about how much the environment needs to be cleaned up. Homeless people are the worst litterers out of everybody. They literally put trash everywhere. Homeless people spread trash everywhere. Everywhere. You walk by any place where homeless people are, you're going to see three things. You're going to see trash, you're going to see urine, you're going to see feces. They contribute nothing to society. They are parasites by nature. Anyone that would say, I'm going to give up, but become a burden to someone else is a parasite. They don't contribute to society. Why is it that the homeless people have all the time in the world, yet they never do community service? Homeless people have all the time in the world and they never do community service. Why not? Why do homeless folks never contribute? Why not? Why is there no pressure for the folks sitting out there that's only surviving because folks are good natured? Homeless people are only surviving because people out of the kindness of their heart give them food, money, and clothes and shelter. That's the only way. So that means they literally are contributing zero to society. But then, even worse than that, they take away. If you have a vacant lot in your neighborhood, a vacant patch of land, invite some homeless people to move into that vacant patch. Invite them. Within 1 week, them homeless folks will be pissing on your front door. Invite them homeless people to go to a vacant lot in your neighborhood subdivision, wherever you live, and I guarantee within 1 week, they will be pissing on your front porch and defecating on your back porch. They are parasitic in nature. They do not contribute to society whatsoever, and they have very poor character because at least bare minimum, they should keep the area clean. They should pick the trash up. They litter the most. So how do you have people being paid to pick up trash, and these folks are taking that trash in the dumpsters, in the trash cans, and throwing them back out on the ground? They're going into the trash cans and throwing the trash back out on the ground. Just go drive by homeless areas and look at the amount of trash on the ground. So why are the homeless folks not being held accountable? Why are homeless people not being held to the fire? If we acted like homeless people, they throw us in jail. If we acted like, think about it, it's $1,000 fine to litter. So if me, person that pays taxes, goes to work, law abiding, if I throw trash on the ground, it's $1,000 fine. If the homeless person does it, they get more aid. They get more food. They get more money. This is insanity. There's incentivized programs for homeless people. In their drug treatment programs, they give them money, food, they give them everything. It's incentivized to be homeless. Now you got to think to yourself, why would they want to incentivize homeless people? Why would they want to incentivize someone that would destroy the environment? Because the homeless folks destroy the environment. They do. They do. They don't care about who's around. Again, let someone homeless move into that neighborhood in the vacant lot and see what happens. They will destroy your neighborhood. Think about a squatter. Those squatters that go into those vacant homes, go look inside them homes. It's trash, piss, and feces everywhere. Drugs, alcohol, trash, feces everywhere. And no one says that homeless people need to be held accountable. So the homeless population is growing in America because America is incentivizing to be homeless. But America, the powers that be, want America to turn into what? A third world country. They want America to be a third world country. And so they want the average citizen to walk outside and be bombarded with the homeless problem. And then for us to say, do something about it. And they're going to say, no problem, martial law. Bring in the troops. That's all they want. Homeless people don't contribute at all to the planet. That means they're ungodly. We have a symbiotic relationship with nature. We breathe out carbon dioxide, we breathe in oxygen. The trees give off oxygen, we give them carbon dioxide. Symbiotic relationship. Homeless people don't contribute to the planet, not besides breathing. But what good is breathing for the tree, exhaling for the tree, and then go pissing on the tree? And you know their urine is all acidic because they got a poor diet, so their urine is like battery acid. My mom used to call it ammonia piss. Someone said, God loves the poor. God loves the poor is true. Homeless is not poor. You got to speak in context. Homeless is not poor. Being poor is about poverty. Homelessness is saying, I want society to take care of me. That's something different. The Bible says if a man don't work, he don't eat. So a person can still be poor and still work. Bare minimum, the homeless people should be picking up trash. Bare minimum, they should be volunteering to help people. It should be teams of homeless people going around neighborhoods asking what people want for free. There should be teams and groups of homeless people going to various neighborhoods asking what they can do for free. How can we contribute for all these years that you guys have looked out for us? They don't even return the favor. They don't even reciprocate anything. They are parasitic by nature. They are terrible people. The average homeless person wants you to take care of them. These are grown men saying, grown men saying, I want to live off the grid. What that really means is I want you to take care of me. Nobody wants to call out homeless people because helping the homeless has become one big virtue signal. So they're spending all this money to help homeless people, and it's still growing. doing all this stuff to stop AIDS from spreading, and it was still spreading. If you send pest control to your house, eventually they're going to get rid of the problem. If you keep sending pest control to your house, eventually they're going to get rid of the problem. How is that we are doing decades of fighting this homelessness and it's growing? We spent decades fighting AIDS and it kept spreading. It doesn't make any sense because it's not real. There are some homeless people that have a mental disability. There are some homeless people that maybe have some issues from war. There are some people that are homeless beyond their control. There was a guy in my neighborhood on MLK. We used to call him Jesus because he'd walk in the street. He have a shirt on and some pants on. We call him Jesus because he get hit by a car and be gone for a couple of months. And then he come back. Like every 3 months, he rose again. We call him Jesus. Homeless dude. You walk up and down Martin Luther King Boulevard. Used to get popped. What was he doing? To me, he was really crazy. Because he would get hit by a car and then come back on the same street and get hit again. That's crazy. I understand him being homeless. I understand him being homeless. But the rest of these folks, they don't want to work. So being poor in poverty is not the same as homelessness. Homelessness is saying, I don't want to contribute to society anymore. Homeless folks, thanks for my badge. Thanks, Queenie. Homeless folks could go to the local farm and say, we'll work on the farm for somewhere to stay. Will they do it? They got all these homeless shelters and they empty. You know why? Because the curfew is rules. You see, we break this thing down, we can see what it really is. I'm driving around and guess what? I'm looking, they put porta potties for the homeless at their little homeless sites. They put little hand wash. I'm like, y'all just incentivizing homelessness. Now, I know many people are saying, you wrong, Blanche. You talking about the homeless. They need help. I know all that stuff it's a big virtue signal. Homeless people will take money from you for a year straight. You might be going to catch the bus and be $1 short. Will they give it to you? You will give a homeless person money for a year straight. You could be $1 short catching the bus. Will they give you the dollar? Absolutely not. They are selfish. They're deplorable. They are horrible people. It should be homeless folks patrolling the streets, keeping people safe. It should be homeless people patrolling the streets, keeping people safe. They absolutely have no contribution to society. And when I say it, thank you, Nadia Marie. And when I say it, people say you're wrong. You're wrong, Blanche. You're wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm calling a spade a spade. Homeless people, they don't contribute. And it's sad. It's sad because we're going to wake up one day and they're going to outnumber the folks that want to work. You're going to have the homeless folks. You're going to have the folks under socialism. And you have the folks that's working. So you're going to be you're going to be a minority in the country. All y'all folks that don't mind working, getting your hands dirty, don't mind sweating, don't mind getting up every day, don't mind building a family, don't mind it. Y'all going to be the minority in this country because their goal is to make this thing completely communist. They want two classes. They want rich and they want poor. The only thing saving America is the middle class. That is the only thing saving America is the middle class. And the media wants you to hate the middle class. The media wants you to hate the middle class. And then when we got socialism and communism, all y'all gonna be poor and you're gonna be upset at the. See, when you hear words like defund and do all this, they're not talking about giving us money. It's gonna be the rich stay rich and the poor just get poorer. Poorer with an ER. Can't really say it, but poorer. So if you look at the homeless situation, Homeless people are incentivized to be homeless. They don't contribute. And if you don't contribute, you are a parasite. I didn't make that up. That is nature. Stuff out in nature that don't contribute, they get killed. It could be a pack of gazelles. And if one of them gazelles have a limp leg, they're going to make sure that gazelle gets eaten. If a gazelle wanders into the wrong part with some other animals, they're going to kill it. This is nature. Homeless people don't contribute. And then when they have a chance to contribute, they don't. Homeless people should be doing stuff for free. Let me wash your windows for free. Let me put the air in your tire for free. Let me pump your gas for free, because I realize that without you all, I can't even exist. So I'm going to return the favor. I'm going to get blessed by y'all to be a blessing. They are selfish. All homeless people do is, thank you, Ebby. All homeless folks do is expose society. There should be no women getting raped in these major cities. You know why? Because it's homeless on every corner, every street. So instead of being passed out drunk on somebody's steps, be up and alert, walking folks to women to their homes and to their cars and to the parking garage. Come on, man. Homelessness is a reflection of society. It's a mirror. That is what society is going to become, is the homeless people, just selfish, don't want to contribute. I'm riding by these homeless areas, and it's just trash. You walk by homeless, it's just piss. They just pissing. I seen dude on Broadway, he just pissing on the sidewalk, broad daylight, no cover, just pissing. He ain't even covering himself up. His kids in cars, his kids walking by, he just pissing. We get mad at the transgender person for walking in there with his stuff hanging out, but then not the homeless dude doing the same thing, piss on the street. They don't contribute. How many homeless folks have offered to do something for y'all out of the kindness of their heart? How many? This is what California is becoming. When I moved in my part of town in Atlanta, when I moved where I live now, I used to see no homeless. Now I see homeless everywhere. How are we helping the homeless so much and it's spreading and expanding? How is it even possible? Somebody said character. It's all character. And homeless people lack character. That's why they're homeless. Homeless people lack character. Go to them third world countries and see how they treat homeless people. You see over there, if your family ain't fooling with you, nobody fools with you. There's a reason why your family don't fool with you. So in the other countries, they don't fool with you. They don't fool with you. See, I only got 2 more minutes left. They don't fool with you. It's a lazy, have integrity says, a lazy mindset. It is. They want everybody to be homeless, be dependent on the system. It's a setup. And all the woke people I know in my community still gonna vote for Gavin Newsom. Even though he destroyed your jobs, got you on lockdown, you still gonna vote for him. And you got 2 black candidates, but you only voted for Kamala because you thought she was black and she wasn't. And you only voted for Barack, you thought he was black and he wasn't. We got to expose his character. His character. These folks are homeless by choice, and it's a character decision. And how do we know this? Because when they become homeless, their character is revealed. Adversity reveals the character. So when things are going bad, I get to see who you really are. Now this thing gonna cut me off. I'm gonna hop back on and finish my point, then I'm gonna be done. But they started restricting my lives to just an hour for some reason. Folks keep reporting my stuff. They can keep scrolling, but they want to report me. I'm striking a nerve. But when Joe Biden said you ain't black if you don't vote for him, you got mad at me because I said I was racist. I have my own people telling me I was a sellout because I said what Joe Biden said was racist. It's absolutely insane. Nobody believes this racism stuff. Nobody. Nobody believes it. Nobody wants to help the homeless either. Nobody. Because if you did, they'd be helped. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm just going to do this real quick. I'm going to post this real quick. I'm going to post this real quick, y'all, and I'm coming right back on. Coming right back on. Okay, I'm back now. So it's coming on right now. Wait for y'all to check in on IG Live. I got YouTube here with me. We are in a censoring of the truth era, where the truth is, and eventually the truth will become illegal. So eventually you're not gonna be able to say the truth at all on no kind of public platform. You're not. Just like everybody has a platform, has to endorse the jab. This lets you know it's the mark of the beast, because you must be a part of the system if you have a platform and giving out a message. So the goal is to be like China with censorship, where we can't, do anything or whatever, all that stuff. So that's the goal, and it's just funny that this liberal way of thinking is going to get us in bondage and in chains. And mark my words, they're going to say, come down to the FEMA camp. They're going to say, if you're Black, please come down to the FEMA camp. Do it for your kids. Do it for your ancestors. They're going to get on TV and get a whole spiel about Black pride going to that FEMA. They're going to have a whole spiel on you being Black going to that FEMA camp. Go to the FEMA camp, please. Your people need you. Go down there and get help. I'm telling you what they're going to do. And you're going to go to that FEMA camp and never get out. And going in, you got to get the jab. And to get out, you got to get the chip. I'm telling you right now. Gavin Newsom, I know what Gavin Newsom did. Gavin Newsom talking about you got to get, it's mandatory, you got to get jabbed or tested every week. I never even thought about freedom. You know that? What's up, Jenny? I never thought about freedom. I never thought about rights, freedom, America. I never thought about land of the free, home of the, like when I was growing up, all that stuff sounded like racist white talk. This land is my land, this land is your land, it's all white people stuff. America, land of the free, home of the brave. All that stuff, I thought that was, but then as I'm older, I didn't know I was conservative. I didn't know I was conservative till this past year. I didn't know I was conservative. I woke up one day and said, wait a minute. This whole thing is a set. I said, wait a minute. These people gonna vote for the man after the man said you ain't Black? I just knew when Joe Biden said it, I said, oh, he done messed up. I said, boy, he done messed up. Just to have my own people tell me that I was a sellout because I said he was racist. So I became conservative last year. And the tough thing is, all this stuff is happening so fast, and everything is being hid behind the Peter pandemic. So they're using the Peter pandemic to do everything, to usher in this whole great reset and let you all know that climate change is next. So when the climate change happened, all the world leaders are already buying on board. That whole Paris Accords agreement, all that carbon in the air making the climate warmer is some BS. It's BS. All they're going to do is they're going to make countries, it's a big Ponzi scheme. If a country wants to emit carbon, they'll just pay tokens, they'll purchase tokens to emit more carbon. They're not actually going to stop emitting carbon. They'll just pay to emit more carbon. So the goal is to increase production. The goal is to increase production and seem like you're doing a good thing for the planet. It's a setup. None of these folks on TV and the media care about you. Matter of fact, they hate you. They hate you. You know how they hate you? Because during the Peter pandemic, when everything was shut down, they shut the schools down, but left the liquor stores open. They hate you. Why wasn't there any incentives to help farmers? Why are the farmers in California why are the farmers around the country losing their farms? If the farmers don't farm, where we get the food from? It's common sense. They're gonna get on TV and tell you, if you love black people, you'll go down to the FEMA camp. They'll get on TV and say, if you love black people, if you're really black, go down to the FEMA camp. Matter of fact, they'll get on TV and say, if you don't go to the FEMA camp, you ain't black. That might work better because it worked last time. Even though we didn't vote, it still worked. Because it ain't about voting. If a person doesn't vote, 9.9 times out of 10, they are a Democrat in their thinking. They're liberal. It don't matter about the party. 25% of the country is Republican. 25% are registered Republican voters. Everybody else is liberal and Democrat. So that means the average person is a liberal and Democrat in their thinking, in their ideology. Forget the parties. So that means if my community doesn't vote Democratic, they still would rather live under Democratic rule. Thanks for the badge, Schmitty87. Yes, Kanchi, Guppy, we should be creating our own groups because now is the time to prepare. Because you're going to look back, many folks are going to suffer. You know, I told you all you should be storing up 180 days at least worth of food and water, at least. You should have candles, flashlights, those little kerosene stoves. You should have all that. First aid kits. Thank you, Carol. All that. Now, see, most folks is running around here thinking about voter IDs and police brutality, and they're going to be stuck with no food in their house. They running around here telling you the most important thing is voter IDs and police brutality, but they finna cut the food supply off. They telling you we got to help the homeless, yet the homeless people going to be the first ones to turn on you. Because you know when everything shut down, the food chain is going to split. So when everything shuts down, the food chain goes from the homeless down here, they go to the top now. Because now you in their territory. You see when the grocery store shuts down and the food production slows down and they cut the power off and all that, now you in homeless territory. Now you in their world. So imagine you at home in the closet shivering and you hear a knock at the door. And then y'all so anxious thinking it's the government coming to help you. Y'all run to the front door and there's 20 homeless people. And they say y'all got 5 minutes to get out. It's 20 homeless people, the same ones you done gave money to and fed all them years, gonna knock on your front door and say, y'all got 5 minutes to get out. Listen, so I'm telling you all now to prepare for what these folks got. These folks been talking about this cyber attack shutdown. Klaus Schwab already told y'all. He wrote the book on this thing. I'm telling you all, y'all protesting voter IDs and police brutality, and we got a man on TV who wrote the book on the Peter pandemic. It's absolutely insane. Joe Biden said that Black business owners don't have accountants and attorneys. Hold on. Joe Biden said Black business owners don't have accountants and attorneys, and nobody said it was racist. Donald Trump said, "What do you have to lose?" And y'all said it was racist. What in the, it don't make any sense. Thanks for the badge, Imani. It doesn't, somebody say it's all diversion. It's a diversionary tactic. It's a setup. It's a setup. That little 3-card money game, they put the little rock under the card and do all this switch around, switcheroo. And then guess what? They'll let you win the first time. That second time, that third, you're not going to win. It's a setup. I remember one time I was in Miami. Dude did it and I won $20. This dude put the 20 on the ground and said, "You got to pick it up." I'm looking around like, man, I ain't picking that money up. I walked away. Think I'm finna pick that money up and get popped inside my head? You crazy. Get robbed? You crazy. Put that 20 on the ground. I said, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good." You know, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. And we rallied and chanted and we stood behind a man. Now, first of all, we aren't black. So what he said was true, just out of context. Thanks, Scotty. We aren't black. What he said was true. It's just that he doesn't control. Well, I guess he does control the blackness because he did. He said, "You ain't black," and we will for it. So yeah, I guess he does control it. Because to be black is to be controlled. We don't control the narrative on being black. If you go to the average person and you say, "What's acting black?" I guarantee they have a vision in mind, and it's not good. If you ask somebody what is acting black, I guarantee they have a vision in their mind, and it's not good. It's a setup. Don't be black. If you're not black, they don't have a script for you. There's no script. Just think about it. There's no script for saying we're not voting this year. There's no script for saying we're going to march and protest over jobs. There's no script for saying I'm not black, I'm not white. There's no script. They only have a script for what they're using. Anything else counter to that throws the whole thing off. And really, it's a delicate balance. Like with all these lockdowns going on. If the people say no more lockdowns, they have to stop. It's simple. It's not difficult. If the people say no more lockdowns, we're done, just like last year when all those patriots and Trump supporters and rednecks went to those capitals with their rifles and said, "Open it back up," they had to open it back up. If that hadn't happened, we would have been shut down completely and America would have collapsed and crumbled, which is what they wanted. Somebody said, Roz, we're looking to the government to protest. It's the corporations. But when I've said, let's do a financial boycott, I was told no. When I told you, I said, okay, instead of shopping with Target just for 1 month, because you know all these companies, they don't have huge profit margins. Y'all don't know this. They don't have huge profit, meaning it takes them a certain amount of billions to make billions. So the profit margin isn't really huge. You look at the fast food industry, their profit margin is us. If my people did not go to fast food restaurants, they would just break even. We're the profit margin. So these companies don't have a huge profit margin. They really don't. But it's billion. The amount is big though, so it's billions. That's why them CEOs cut the workers and not their salary and not their bonuses. They just cut the workers because they got to make the what? The profit. So when something happens, you can cripple any company in 3 months. 3 months. Because everything is done quarterly. So let's say we don't shop with Walmart for 3 months. Walmart can't ever make that 3 months up without raising the prices and not being Walmart. Let me say it for you in simpler terms. If we boycotted Walmart financially for social injustice, if we boycotted Walmart financially for those first 3 months, they would not be able to make up those first 3 months without raising the prices. Then they wouldn't be Walmart anymore. So now they playing catch up the rest of the time. Now they're in the red at the end of the year because they can't make it up. That's how powerful a financial boycott is. That's why the Montgomery bus boycott was the most successful boycott in history. Because the city of Montgomery came to us and said, what do you all want? Now, what we should have said was our own city, our own bus system, our own section of town. Thank you, beautiful Ghanaian. We didn't say that. All we said, we went right in front of the bus. So when I'm telling you all this, the civil rights movement wasn't controlled by us. The civil rights movement was controlled by Jews and liberal whites. Because the purpose of the civil rights movement was what you see today, how trans rights are the new civil rights. That was the purpose of the civil rights movement. It wasn't for us, it was for what you see now. Trans, LGBTQ, immigrants, it's the civil rights movement was to usher in America being communist. That's the goal. So the Montgomery bus boycott that was successful, you got to ask yourself, why did we never do it again? If it worked so well, it took a year. It took a year to bring the city of Montgomery down to their knees. It took 1 year. So if it was so successful, why was it never used again? It was never used again because it was successful. You get what I'm telling you? The civil rights movement was compromised from the jump. And then when King figured it out, he left the NAACP. He left. And he told him why he was leaving. He said, you are not for my people. I read the letter. I went to the museum and I read the letter that he wrote to them. He was done with them. He was very detailed and specific. The National Advancement Association of Advancement of Colored People, read their mission statement. Read what they stand for. It's not for us, it's for everybody. The NAACP was never about us, it's for everybody. All these movements, even the Black Panthers said they used to go debate with rich Jews and rich whites to get funding. Your most wokest Black Panther said out of their own, Bobby Seale said out of his own mouth, they used to go debate rich Jews and rich white people for their money and their funding. So that means even the Black Panthers were a part of the system. Now, when I talk like this, I get called a sellout. I get called a coon. But yet your most wokest person out there ain't talking like me. They say in the same script that keeps their platform on YouTube. They say in the same script that don't get them many strikes on YouTube. They ain't got to plead no cases to IG. They can get on TV and talk about how bad white people are, how bad racist America is, and all that stuff, and never get their platforms touched. But the moment I tell my people that racism is economic and to change your whole outlook and don't make it about skin, but make it about economic empowerment, my stuff gets snatched down. They got a whole reset on money. They try to take away the, we worried about a color and they taking away the money. Somebody said, we got to get gold and silver. Nixon said, I'm taking away the gold and silver standard for a period of time. Is he going to bring it back? I don't know. Will it go all digital? I don't know. You're going to have some assets. Somebody said, what's up? You're going to have some assets, some tangible assets. If they hit the switch and kill everybody's account tomorrow, what's going to have a value? If there's no money circulating, we saw this earlier, they already showed us, when there was no money circulating for a couple of months, the entire country shut down. The entire world shut down. That's how fragile this fake system is. This fake fiat system is fragile. These companies, if they have 3 months of hard times. That's why they had to get bailed out, because they'll never get out of the red. So if the bus boycott worked, why didn't we do it again? Because it worked. So they told our leaders, don't do that no more. You can only get in the street and get your head knocked off. You sitting there going out to the rally, to the marches. They taking pit dogs on you, hitting you with water hose, hitting you with sticks. For what? To sit next to them in a lunch counter? To drink from a water fountain? Because when you're talking about something economic and you're talking about improving the economic state of your community, you don't have to march. You go to the courthouse. You start suing corporations. The Jews have a 4-tiered reparation program. It's 4-tiered. The Jews have the German government paying them, our government paying them, the government corporation, automotive industries paying them, the banks paying them, and they're getting land. The Jews have a 4-tiered reparations plan. And their Holocaust lasted for 4 years. And not one time have any of these woke people said, why are we not marching and protesting for that? For a 4-tier reparation program. So all the woke people out there want you to focus on race so they can have a job, so they can be relevant, so they can have a job and be relevant. Thank you, Maya, for the bag. So they can have a job and be relevant. People don't believe in racism, man. These folks are race hustlers. They race hustling. The worst thing we could have did was believe he was black. Because once that happened, all was lost. It was a lie. All of us a lie. So we got the homeless taking over. We got the Great Reset coming. We got cyber attack, financial collapses. We got the government buying up all the property. We got the government buying up all the property. We got Bill Gates buying up all the farmland. We got China buying up all the farmland. We got farms being shut down. We got all this stuff going on. And they telling you that the most important thing is voter ID and police brutality. We got climate change coming. You can't go outside because it's too hot. Too hot for who? We got climate. They're gonna have you in the house because of climate change. What we talking about? What we talking about? All right, Nate. What we talking about? What about the food? Are you gonna go get it? Oh, my bad, y'all. I'm talking. I'm supposed to pick the food. Pick the food up. You know. But the climate change is a joke. It's not real. It's a setup. How convenient is it for climate change to be a real thing, but the end result is you not having any rights? How is it that all the stuff they concern themselves about all end up with you not having any rights? How does that work out so conveniently? Climate change affects all the poor people now. I read an article and it said that a wild boar, a feral pig, wild boar, emits the same amount of carbon as 1 million cars. A wild boar emits the same amount of carbon as a 1 million cars. And I'm like, and people believe this. It's just so stupid. It's dumb. When I saw an article that said, COVID-19 is not contributing to global warming. The fact you write the article lets me know where y'all headed. Because again, the liberals can say something. Thanks for the badges. The liberals can say something that sounds completely ridiculous and nobody get upset because they seem harmless. You think Nancy Pelosi is harmless. You think AOC is harmless. You think Angela Rye is harmless. You think Maxine Waters, you think these folks are harmless. You think Biden Kamala, you think these folks are harmless. Wang in New York, you think these folks are, because they look harmless. I kept asking people, what racist policy did Donald Trump sign? Nobody had an answer for me. Okay, what racist policy did Joe Biden sign? We got a history of it. It's a setup. You think it's about Republican and Democrat? No. It's about the mindset of the people and what the people want. Do you believe in family? Do you believe in freedom? Do you believe in God? This is what we're talking about. So Lil Nas X can do a video that's really basically almost pornographic and get praise for it. Meanwhile, I'm posting content that talks about empowering the person, that talks about God, that talks about love, talks about freedom, and it gets taken down. And you all want to convince me that we're out here fighting racism. We're not. Are you a patriot? What is a patriot? I believe in God. I believe in family. I believe in freedom. If that makes me a patriot, I guess I'm a patriot. I don't know. I believe in God. I believe in family. I believe in freedom. That's what I stand on. Y'all put the other category you want to put it in. Somebody said, I believe in life. That's what I believe in. I ain't got to wave a flag. I ain't got to vote. None of that. I believe in God, family, and freedom. And anybody talking about infringing upon those things, we got a problem. We got a problem. The UN said that every human being has a right to a nationality. Yet they get on TV every day and talk bad about black people. The UN said every human being has a right to a nationality, and every human being has a right to pick their nationality, which means you can pick your own nationality according to the UN. So even the UN gives you an option to not be black. But yet and still, they get on TV and they say things like, if you're black, you don't have sense enough to go get an ID to vote. You don't have sense enough to log online. You don't have sense enough to take care of yourself. You don't have sense enough to not kill. You don't have sense enough to not do crime. You don't have sense enough to know who to vote for. You don't have sense enough to know what to eat. You don't have sense enough to care about your body. I don't know for the life of me why anybody would want to be black. I don't. There is nothing good about being black at all. Nothing. It is a cursed existence. If you don't believe me, go look up the statistics on what we die from. We're the most likely to die from all causes. That's a true statement. We are the most likely to die from all causes. That is a cursed literal existence. And it really stems back to you taking on a cursed persona. You saying, instead of me being who God said I was, I'm going to be a color. Somebody said they want your guns. Yes, they want your guns. They want your guns. Because the Second Amendment protects the First Amendment. But they're telling you that everything is racist, so you don't care about it. So they'll tell you that the First Amendment is racist. You'll fight against it. The Second Amendment is racist. You'll fight. At this point, all they got to say is something is racist, y'all going to go against it. That's why it's so dangerous. That's why it's so dangerous. This whole race thing is so dangerous. They can get on the media right now and say, he's a sellout, and everybody will believe it. No, in fact, they ain't got to say that. All they got to say is, he's a Trump supporter, and everybody going to believe it. Even though I've never told anyone to vote for Donald Trump, even though I've never told anyone to vote for Donald Trump, And I've never told anyone not to vote for Joe Biden. These are factual and truthful statements, even though they will still say it and folks will believe it because it's all emotion. It's all emotion. So the Bible said, God never asked anybody how they felt. The emotions of it all, the feelings of it all, is what's going to put us back in bondage. We have an emotional tie to slavery, and ain't near one of us slaves. How do we have an emotional tie to slavery, and near one of us was slaves? Somebody had to put that in you. Somebody had to put that spirit in you. They had to. They had to show you all these movies over and over again. They keep making slave movies. They keep making slavery shows. They keep making it under. Why do you think they keep doing it? Anytime we have a film, it deals with some foolishness or slavery or some with the police. It's a setup. It's a setup. There's nobody on TV telling you all that you could be great. Nobody. They always tell you that you are subject to the tyranny of white America. And it's not true, and I don't believe it. The average person in America wants to live their life. They don't have any agendas. Somebody said a waste of film. Yeah, it's a waste of film. It's not empowering. It's a waste. We keep falling for it. So then when I say I've transcended past the race thing, I'm going to humanity because the threat is against humanity. And what they told you all to do was they told you all to abandon love and character to just judge someone by how they looked. During slavery, it was white folks risking their life to free the slaves. It was white folks risking their life to free the slave, and nobody said nothing about them. Nobody says anything about them. It's white folks right now going to the hood, taking care of some kids, and nobody says nothing. I know some white people that went into the hood to help, and nobody gives them no credit. They just call them racist. It's disrespectful. It's not honorable. It's some white folks out there giving their hard-earned money to help our children. The same ones we're walking past, and they get called racist. It's insulting. I don't blame Texas. I don't blame Texas. I don't. We don't want these liberals coming to this. I don't blame them because these same liberals leave these liberal democratic states because of the tyranny. They leave it because it's ran into the ground. It's terrible. Then they go to the conservative states and vote to say it don't make. But guess what? I told you all, Democrat and Republican is a mindset. So the same people would go to the country, the state, because it was freer, because they could own a weapon, gun, because they could do these, they go there for the freedom, just to vote against the freedom when they got there. Thank you. We'll get a badge. Thank you, Colette, for the badge. Y'all follow my daughter Colette. I am _ the real Colette. But they leave the liberal states, go to conservative and vote Democratic. You know why? Because the mindset. You see, what these liberals do is, if the country split, if it was liberal on one side and conservative on the other side, now guess what? If you split down the middle, the liberals are going to want the western half of the United States. And the conservatives will get the eastern half of the United States. So this is what they would do, right? So if the country was split, we would not have a border crisis down by Mexico or Texas. The border crisis would be where the country was split between liberal and conservative, because all them liberals would be in them liberal states getting destroyed, getting tortured, and they would all try to flee to the conservative states. Every last one of them. One thing I know about them liberals is they eat their own. So eventually they start eating each other. They're cannibals. So all these states they got to take a hard stance with critical race theory, because critical race theory eventually is going to have the whole country beat them. And y'all realize this: when the country is all blue, it will be a third world country. It will be communist. There won't be any counter arguments. There won't be conservatives will be on the run. Think about this: believing in God, family, and freedom will have you on the run. The Walking Dead is coming, y'all. It is. But guess what? Folks been walking dead. They've been spiritually dead first. Nobody can convince you to put something in your body that you don't want to unless you have compromised your character completely. The last line of defense that you have is your physical body. So if someone could pressure you into violating your physical body, it is over. This is your temple that safe houses your spirit. So they can get you to say, I'm going to forsake all this, not trust God and do it, it's a wrap. So folks been the Walking Dead. So when we go back and we see 124 million Democrats got the jab, it was a liberal way of thinking that gets you to take the jab. Because it's not about what's right or it's about a feeling. These folks called Donald Trump racist for an entire year. They called him racist entire 4 years. He was racist. And then he said, take the jab, and y'all did it. It don't make any sense. But it does make sense when it's not based on sense. When it's based on emotion, when it's based on how I feel, when it's based on everything, you can do anything then. So I tell anybody to trust God. Don't trust man, trust God. The ways of man seemeth right, but the end is death. How can the ways of man seem right, but the end be death? So that means what man is doing, what they're doing, it seems right. Meaning you're looking at it, you say, okay, that makes sense. That seems right. Let's feed the homeless. Let's help them. That seems right. What's the end? They're going to take over. They're going to knock at your front door and let us in. You got 5 minutes to leave. The ways of man seem right, but the end is death. So whatever man is doing, it's not good because the end is death. After all this has happened, why is there no campaign for eating healthy? Why is there no campaign for eating healthy? None. Somebody said racism and homophobia are the biggest cars to run to shut out the truth. It is. He's racist. He's a Trump supporter. Don't listen to him. He's homophobic. Don't listen to him. He's transphobic. Don't listen to him. It's just crazy. And I'm telling you all now, even y'all people that be reporting my post, people that report my page, see all you page reporters, all you page reporters, they're going to turn on you too. You don't make a deal with the devil and the devil looks out for you. You make a deal with the devil and the devil pays you in kind by killing you. So you same page reporters, you same liberal advocates, all you same people, they're going to turn on you. They're going to eat you alive. And you're going to try to run to the people that you've studied on for all this time with no reprieve. Because they're not going to trust you. They're going to think you're an agent of destruction. They're not going to trust you. I feel Texas 110%. Y'all not finna teach our children that every white person is racist. Critical race theory basically says that every white person is racist, no matter what they do. And the only way to not be racist is to do what you tell them to do. If I was a white person, I would reject all of it. I will reject all of it. Don't accept none of it. Telling you that you inherently racist, which means you got to do all these, jump through all these hoops to prove you aren't racist. Just for somebody to say you're only jumping through the hoops to prove you ain't racist. It's a setup. There is nothing a white person can do to prove they aren't racist. Nothing. There's nothing they can do. Because everything they do is going to prove they're racist. Oh, look at them. Hanging around black folks because they think they're not racist. Look at them hiring black folks. So folks think they want not. No matter what you do, you still gonna be racist. It's BS. It's not character based. None of it. A white person can dedicate their entire life. It's white folks that are missionaries, go around the world. And all they say is they want to sleep with the people that's there. They want to have sex with them. They want to colonize them. Listen, man, it's terrible. I don't subscribe to it. I'm not going to subscribe to it. I'm going to subscribe to judging people by their character. Because what's going to happen to you is you're going to judge somebody by the way they look, and you're going to miss out on your blessing. You're going to judge somebody by the way they look, and you're going to miss out on your blessing. That's all that's going to happen. You're going to let these folks rib you. You're going to let these same people that go home to white people, because the same folks that's woke advocating for you, go home to white people. They got white spouses, mixed children, white lovers, white boyfriends, white girlfriends, white fiancés, all these people, Terry Porter, Don Lemon, white man of this, white man of that, both go home to white men. Both go home to white men. AOC, white man. The little Muslim chick, white man. The Muhammad chick, white man. All of them white men. White men so bad, but they all go home to white men. It's just insane to me. Even listening to them. Cornel West, white woman. Van Jones, white woman. Divorced now. White. But then they'll tell you, if you get with a white girl, you hate your mama. If you get with a white girl, you hate your mama, but getting with a white girl produced Barack Obama. So let's think about this. They love Barack. His mama's white, but they'll condemn you for getting with a white girl. Make that make sense. They love Barack and praise Barack as Black Jesus, but his mama's white. But if you get with a white girl, you hate your mama. None of it's based in logic. It's all based in emotion. It's all based in feelings. It ain't real. It ain't real. It's not real. None of it's real. It's fake. They don't believe it. They don't believe it. How you love biracial pride. You love Alicia Keys, but if a black man give it a white woman, he a sellout. Oh, I get it. So you love the products in interracial relationships, but not the actual relationship. Okay. Cassie with Puff Daddy. She left Puff Daddy after the contract ended. Cassie left Puff Daddy after her contract ended with him to be his beard. And then she went and married a white guy and y'all praised her. Gabby Sotomayor got with a white guy, y'all praised her. Serena Williams got with a white guy, y'all praised her. Y'all don't really believe it. Y'all don't believe it. Serena Williams talking about Black Lives Matter, but got a white husband. If I say Black Lives Matter, got a white wife, I'm a sellout. Nobody believes this stuff. Nobody believe. I don't believe none of this stuff. It's not real. Eve married a white billionaire. Somebody thanks Carol. Eve married Eve the Rough Rider. Eve with the tattoo, with the alley cat tattoos on her chest right here. Eve Rough Rider married a white billionaire, and y'all praised her. And y'all want to convince me that y'all out here really fighting racism. I don't believe none of it. It's BS. All these people got white spouses and white boyfriends and girlfriends. I don't believe it. How you hate white people, but then go home and sleep with them? Having that kinky sex. Because y'all say white folks is freaky. So y'all having the kinky sex. Come on home, y'all. It's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy. And they want to convince a white child that that child has privilege, which means that child is superior over the average melanated child, indigenous child, or black child. You want our children to grow up with a color complex, thinking that the average white person is superior over them. That is critical race. That's what they want to push. And y'all falling for this crazy mess? If the Black Panthers were getting their funding from Jews and whites, what makes you think this stuff is real? What makes y'all think it's real? People were saying for years, I don't see color, and we was condemning them. People were saying, I don't see color for years, and we started condemning them. So if I'm not black, why should they be seeing a color? If you're not white, why should they be seeing a color? Think about the brainwashing. They want you to see a color and not a person. It's a setup. It's a setup. Listen, man, you gotta love yourself first. People say y'all don't love yourself. How you gonna love yourself and then want your child to go to school and they telling your child that you're oppressed by his white classmate? That's nuts. Your child got an inferiority complex. They're gonna grow up to be what? How much will your child achieve believing that the average white person is superior to them? If y'all have children now, start telling y'all kids now they're not a color. Start it now. Don't answer to a color. I'm not checking no box. Trying to put me in racial confinement. Ain't nothing good about being black. Nothing. Ain't nothing good about being not one thing. Get the jab for your people. Now they minimizing Tuskegee experiment. Now it wasn't that bad. Y'all talked about how bad the medical industry was for all this time, all last year. Racism in medical industry. The doctors racist, nurses racist, hospitals racist. But now, when it's time to get the jab, you better get it. Forget all the racism stuff. Now you better get it, man. Y'all better get out of here, man. Y'all believe this mess out here. This is all a lie. Singing "We Shall Overcome," getting hit upside the head with a nightstick. Y'all crazy, man. Holding hands, walking down the street, getting hit upside the head, showing the white meat. All that foolishness, man. Y'all marching to be black. Y'all fighting to be black. Y'all fighting to be in bondage. Wasn't no slave calling themselves black back in the day. That used to be offensive to our people. That was offensive to be called black. You black. That was offensive. That was fighting words. Now it's propaganda on t-shirts. It's white folks making millions of dollars off of Black Lives Matter stuff. Ain't that ironic? Ain't that ironic? These folks made all this money and didn't give black people not 1 cent. All the money went back to white people. Ain't that ironic? How Black Lives Matter, the money still went back to the Jews and the white people. Ain't that ironic? And y'all think it's real? And I'm the sellout? And y'all think it's real? These people hate y'all. They hate y'all. Thanks for the badge, Jusia. They hate y'all. They hate us. The UN talks about humanity. That is what the fight is for. You have a right to be here and be free. This is what God intended. These people are telling you that the planet is bad. Your skin is bad. Your body's not adequate. The environment's bad. Like look what they doing. So pretty soon, if everything that God created is bad, then what's the final straw? They're gonna say God is bad. The Most High is bad. That's the final straw. That's how we really go into the beast system. So when those aliens come down, they're gonna say, oh, they don't really know God, it's them. Gonna be some fake aliens. Thank you, OK Witchy. Thank you. Somebody said, Study Moore said the air is bad, need a mask to breathe clean air. He said, Tanya said the aliens are on their way. No, they ain't on their way. They're gonna be released. It's gonna be staged. It's gonna be a fake alien invasion. It's gonna look real. They already pump faked y'all with 9/11. All they do is run simulations. What would the people fall for? What would they fall for? What would they fall for? Would they fall for this? Would they fall for that? Yeah, it's easy. It ain't hard. Y'all saw Rodney King getting beat at 3 a.m. in the morning, and nobody thought to themselves, who in the world had a camera up, set up, tripod back in 90, 91, filming Rodney King with a perfect angle? Nobody thought it was a setup. In LA, in Hollywood. It's been a setup, y'all. They've been distracting us with every movement because the real fight has been the fight for humanity, because humanity involves God. The reason why they want to get rid of God, because the only thing that can oppose what's going on, I watched this pastor's sermon. The reason why they have to get rid of God, because the only thing that can offset what's going on right now on this earth with this great reset is another authority. The only thing that stops what's going on now is for the people to believe that something else has authority over what these people are doing. So they have to get rid of God because God is the authority over those 13 families. God's the authority over the great reset. So they have to, the only thing that can rival what's going on, the issue is we're fighting the wrong thing. You know, wear the mask, not wear the mask, protest, march, all that stuff, get the jab, get the jab. That ain't really the fight. The fight is, what's the authority? So the problem is folks are fighting the results of the authority, but not shifting what the authority is. So the Most High is the authority. God is the authority. So if God is the authority, then you don't even listen to the other thing. The only thing that can stop this great reset is another authority. That is God. So what they did first was they got rid of the churches and created another religion. They created an entire religion where now we sanitize our hands. We stay 6 feet apart. We put our mask on. We take our mask off when it's time to eat. We put it back on when it's not. We wait in line 6 feet apart to put stuff in our bodies. We walk single file lines. We watch the news religiously. They created a whole new religion because they know the only way this can work is for this authority that they're setting up to be in charge. If the people just do something simple and say, we're going to listen to God, this couldn't happen. And it's so simple. We believe in God, not you all. They said it was a separation between church and state. Notice how not anymore. They said it was a separation between church and state. Notice not anymore. Because the state will always have you compromise what you believe in. So the whole thing ain't about what we fighting over. It's about who is the authority. Who's the recognized authority? Is it God or is it them? Right now, everybody's acquiescing to them and not God. God said, let your nay be your nay and your yea be your yea. All the folks got to say is, no, we're not doing it. We trust in God. They don't have an argument for that. They don't have an argument for people saying, we trust God, not you all. They don't have no argument. What about science? We don't care about science. We care about God. What about the stats? We don't care about stats. We care about God. It's no argument. They want to change the planet because they know the planet is going to fight against them. The planet is going to start fighting against them. They know this, so they have to change the planet. They got to block the sun out. They got to tank the food. They got to tank the ground. They got to change the planet because the planet is going to try to protect who? Us. The planet is designed to protect humanity. So they have to get rid of the planet so that we are left vulnerable. So it's not about what we fight over, it's about who's the authority. Somebody said, yeah, the etymology is the words. It's the words. Think about how powerful the words are. They say climate change. Change to what? Climate change. Change to what? How is the climate changing? So when they change the climate, you'll think it's normal. Climate change. Why is it not called climate better? Climate back to normal. Why is it climate change? Climate change because they're going to change the climate. All these words mean something. So they get us, my people, to live off of sayings. We got a whole bunch of sayings. It's lit. It's people right now living their whole life off just being lit. That's their phrase. That's their mantra in life. It's lit. I'm lit. Got a bunch of women saying, I am the table. That's their mantra. Living off a bunch of sayings. Just talking. But words are powerful. People saying, women saying, I am the table. But what happens when you become as wide as a table? You're spoken into existence. I'm lit. And then you get caught on fire. You get burned up. I'm just saying. Words are powerful. Somebody said, pretty litty. Living my best life. And most folks that say living my best life is living their worst life. How ironic. Living my best life is actually your worst life. Come on, y'all. These words are powerful. These words mean something. So we have an opportunity to save ourselves. Because the only way we're going to get saved is if we save ourselves. There's no pie, nobody. We got to save ourselves. So if a Savior is going to return, a Savior has to have a reason to return. Now, your pastor is going to tell you that your Savior is going to come back and save you. The Savior is going to return when the Savior has a reason to return. Ain't nothing worth saving right now. Let's be honest. We have not earned the right to be saved. Let's be real. We're not showing anything that we're worthy to be saved. Nothing. So coming to save this right here would be useless. So when we're ready, then God is ready. Not any time before that. When we're ready, that's when God's ready. Because God's waiting for us. We're not waiting for God, what your pastor tells you. Wait on the Lord. I'm going to wait on God. That's BS. How you waiting on God and God has made everything for you? You ain't waiting on God. God will give you a whole planet. God done put the power in your hand to achieve greatness. God done put the power of life and death in your tongue. How you waiting on God? You ain't waiting on God. You procrastinating. It's like a character. The earth and the fullness thereof. So I'm gone, y'all. Before I go, the homeless people, the best thing you all can do for the homeless people is, instead of giving them money, instead of giving them clothes, instead of giving them food, give them a life lesson. Tell them how they shouldn't be out here living like this. Tell them they can do better. Tell them God has a plan for them. Tell them they have purpose. That's what they need. They don't need more alcohol. They don't need more food. They don't need more clothes. There are no homeless people dying of starvation in America. So food ain't what they need. There ain't no homeless people in America naked, so they don't need clothes either. What they need is some encouragement. They need some wisdom. They need a good word. So you really want to help the homeless people, give them a good word. Tell them to fix their character. That's why they're homeless. It's a character reason. And nothing to do with nothing else. It's character. It ain't about Democrat or Republican. It's about the mindset of the people. Do you believe in God, family, and freedom? Or do you believe in everything else? So don't worry about Republican or Democrat. Look at the mindset of the people. Donald Trump came up with a vaccine, and all them Democrats said that he was racist for 4 years. And before he left out, he said, get the jab, and they all took it, which means they actually never believed that he was racist. Well, they ended my live on IG. Thank you, YouTube. I love you all, and I will be back soon. Thank you.